Nice and relaxing. Hey, Elliot. Well, welcome to the first ever episode of Everyday Life with myself, Dustman Dave, and my assistant, Elliot. Hello, Elliot.
Hello.
We'll be chatting random subjects from everyday life. Right, let's get started with the first subject. Elliot, what is the first subject?
Supermarkets.
Yep, your shopping habits. Shopping habits in supermarkets. So, let's go. Right, what's the first question we need to ask, Elliot?
Well, first things first, what supermarket do you use?
Well, the supermarket we use is just our local Tesco. We find it easier. Obviously, literally just down the road, nice and small. You know where everything is. I found it. If you go to a bigger supermarket, if you suddenly change it, you could be taking a lot longer looking for your items and getting completely lost and ended up shopping taking twice as long as it normally would. What do you think about that, Elliot? Do you prefer using the local one?
Yes.
What's your favourite aisle down our local Tesco?
Probably the snack aisle.
The snack aisle. What is that, like the biscuit confectionery?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favourite sort of confectionery that you get from that aisle?
Custard creams.
Oh, custard creams, yeah, the biscuits, yeah, definitely. Well, we've had a couple of comments. So, we're going to check them out. We've had a Sean and Jill Offord, who live in Winterton-on-Sea in Norfolk. They use Aldi's and Lidl's. Mainly Aldi's for their main shop, and they get certain items that they can't get at Aldi from Lidl on their way home. I think that's quite a popular thing, isn't it, Elliot? I think people do a main shop somewhere and get smaller items, or think items they can't get at another store. Do you reckon that's probably about right?
Yeah.
We've also got a Joanne Hunter from Coast-on-Sea. She struggles to get hold of stem ginger, but she manages to get that from Sainsbury's, as the other stores don't seem to stock it. Otherwise, she mainly shops at Lidl's. And, well, what do you think? What about people who work in supermarkets, Elliot? Do you reckon they shop at the shop they work at?
Probably.
Well, a Tracy Chapman from Coast-on-Sea, she works in Lidl's. She shops there as well. And she gets quite a good discount, really. Gets a 10% discount. That's pretty good, isn't it?
That's not bad.
But if you worked at Tesco's, for instance, Elliot, would you, after a shift, after working there, shelf stacking or on the tills or whatever you're doing, would you do your weekly shopping in front of your workmates and with all the managers around who you'd be working with all day? Or would you pick another day to go in, or even another Tesco store? What would you do?
I would probably still use the same shop.
Yeah. Well, after a shift, or probably on a different day?
Different day.
Yeah, I mean, with the cost of living nowadays, it's having a 10% discount is pretty good, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, you might as well make use of that. Now, we're going to try something out. We're going to go for a random fact, and Elliot is going to press a little fanfare button here. Hey! This is our first attempt, guys, so bear with us. But yeah, we've got a random fact. Now, I'm going to ask this to Elliot, and anyone else who's listening, if they know this random fact. Do you know what ASDA stands for?
Oh, I didn't know it stood for anything.
I know, well, I had to do a tiny bit of research on this subject, and yeah, I didn't know what it stood for, but evidently it stands for Associated Dairies. Now, they were founded in 1949 when the supermarket owning Asquith family merged with the Associated Dairies Company of Yorkshire. and it expanded into the south of England during the 70s and the 80s. So basically it comes from associated dairies. So yeah, that's a random fact that I didn't know until I started this. But anyway, Elliot, what is question 2?
Well, next question. How many times a week do you go food shopping?
Well, how many times do we go food shopping, Elliot?
Just the once.
Just the once, yeah. Well, obviously you're sort of normally at school, but but in the school holidays you do help us, don't you? You help us unpack and you come with us as well. But your mother and me, we go shopping, as you say, once a week, don't we? Normally on a Wednesday morning, before I start work, really. And anything we can't get at Tesco, anything we need in the week, sometimes just nip back there just for a couple of items, or sometimes the Co-op or a Lidl's for specific items. And we have got a comment here. And that comes from Trevor Rawson. He actually runs to the shops with an empty rucksack twice a week. Now, that's quite impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
He runs to the shops with an empty rucksack. He fills up with fruit and veg or household cleaning products, and then he runs home. So that's environmentally friendly, and it ensures he doesn't buy too much CRAP. I thought I'd better spell that out instead of saying the full wording, just in case. So, what about question 3?
Well, do you have a routine? As in, what aisle do you go down first?
Well, I think when me and your mother do the shopping, Elliot, or when your mother does the shopping, I should rephrase that, because when we do the shopping, yeah, she goes in, she makes a start. I basically go straight down the newspaper aisle. I'll pick up a newspaper and go back to the cart and read it while she does the shopping.
That's the easy option.
Yep, that's right. And, I think I'd just get in the way if I was sort of shopping with her, and it can get a bit boring. She knows what she wants, and I'm sure a lot of people who go in their weekly supermarket shopping, they might have a little list, yeah, but they pretty much know exactly what they want and just automatically go around the aisles picking up products, whereas, someone who doesn't do it often would probably be a little bit clueless like me. Hence, I take the newspaper sitting in the car option and wait till she comes back. But we have got a comment from Hazel Benjamin, who lives in King's Lynn. She uses Sainsbury's and usually goes in there early or late to avoid the crowds. I can understand that. But definitely we sort of go in early. And her fussy cat will only eat Sainsbury's prawns, so she shops there. And she starts at the fruit and veg aisle. Now, I think in most supermarkets that's pretty much standard anyway, isn't it? Do you think, the fruit and veg aisle?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much our local supermarket. Yeah, I can picture it now. That pretty much is the fruit and veg aisle for that one. So we can go on now, Elliot, to question 4.
Do you take your own bags?
Well, yeah, we take our own bags in, don't we?
Yes.
I mean, your mother has a pretty good system, really, with bags, doesn't she?
Very good system.
She's got a lot of the larger bags, the sort of bags for life, which you can fit a lot more shopping in. And tell you what, she is a brilliant packer, isn't she?
Yes.
The amount of food or the amount of product she can get into one bag is unbelievable. But you'd probably be quite good at packing, I guess, Elliot, wouldn't you? Would you be quite good at packing?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm not so good. Might be like a typical bloke, but I'm sure there are a lot of men out there who can pack really well. But I'll basically just chuck it all in. Don't really think about it. Bread in first, or whatever item is first, that goes in first. So yeah, I sort of never do the packing on a big shop at all, really. But yeah, we take our own bags, and I do have a spare ordinary carry bag in the car for when I'm going personally. If it's just for like 3 or 4 smaller items, and I'll take that bag out of the car instead of buying another one, because as we know, Elliot, we have got quite a few bags, haven't we?
Yes, we've got a bag full of bags.
Exactly. And yeah, we don't really want any more, but we do have a comment from a Carolyn Wardale from King's Lynn. She says she always takes her own bags as she begrudges paying for them. So that's fair enough. She click and collects at Tesco, but sometimes pops into Aldi or Sainsbury's. Now, I think with bags, I think the price has increased now from when they first bought that charge in. And if you do, I mean, that adds up, doesn't it? If you go shopping a few times a week and you're constantly buying bags, you add that up over the year, that's quite a massive amount. And of course, what to do with the bags as well? Do you just collect them or throw them away or recycle them? So, yeah, if you've got your own bag, I think that's really good. And we do have, on that subject of bags, we do have a random fact. So, Elliot, would you like to press that little button there? Hey. Well, a random fact about bags is the idea behind Bags for Life is you only pay once, and after the initial purchase, they can be replaced by the supermarket for free whenever they break. So, I think that sells it, doesn't it?
Yeah, hence the name.
A bag for life. That would be interesting, though, to see how long they do roughly last. Because I remember the old style supermarket carrier bags a good few years ago now. You couldn't get much in them. You'd get a few tins in them and probably be halfway out the door, halfway back to your car, and the bag would collapse. Whereas they seem to be a lot stronger now, which is good. So, we will go now to it. Shall we go to another question, Elliot? What do you reckon?
Might as well. Do you use online shopping?
Oh, I'm just having a sip of my lovely cuppa. Do you use online shopping? Well, do we use online shopping, Elliot?
No.
I mean, obviously we do shop online for other, like Amazon and stuff, but with food shopping, supermarket shopping, no, we don't actually use that. But we have a comment here from an Andrea Richmond, who lives in Coast-on-Sea. She does online shopping. She has a weekly slot with Sainsbury's. I think it's a morning slot. Now, I've always wondered with online shopping, and like a few the elderly people who I know get their online shopping as well. It's only for people who can't get out. But what if there isn't a product available, and often they replace them with another product, which you might not like? So I've never been too sure about that, whether that product you might not like, whether you can get a refund on that product, or how that works. But for convenience, yeah, it's sort of great if you've got a busy lifestyle. If you can't get out, if you're immobile, then I think online shopping is really good. And of course, it's a good community. It's good for the community for that person. They can have a chat. They get to know the driver, don't they? They normally have a regular driver, and they get to know that system. They probably look forward to that driver coming around, have a little chat, and often they do go out their way, these drivers, to help that person taking all the bags in, etc. It depends who you get, but certainly a big business now, isn't it? The online shopping business. We often see the vans delivering. But what do you reckon, Elliot? Shall we have a random fact about online shopping?
Yes.
Here it goes. Well, a random fact about online shopping is 13% of the UK shop online.
Oh, that's a good statistic.
Yeah, I mean, I probably thought that would be a bit higher, but yeah, that's evidently what Google said. But yeah, 13%. That's not. It's quite a good percentage, that, isn't it? But with us, with supermarket online shopping, probably wouldn't go for that option at the moment, would we?
No.
Do you reckon when you're older you would?
Potentially.
Do you reckon if you had a busy week at university or whatever, and you get your shopping delivered to the campus, or would you just pop down to your nearest supermarket? I suppose as a student though, you probably need to a basic amount, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get everyone asking you to get their shopping as well. End up taking quite a while. Anyway, shall we go to question number 6?
Oh yes, the last question is, what do you think about self-service tills?
Oh, well, this is a bit of a subject that could be a bit controversial. I mean, do you use self-service tills, Elliot, when you go in there? Do you say, I don't know, if you got like a couple of things, like you've got getting some stationery or a new DVD, what would you? You're not too fussed, really, are you? What one you use?
No, well, it depends how much you're getting.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, it does. Now, self-service tills, yeah, I think they are handy, certainly in supermarkets. Where we live, in case you want to see, obviously it's a seaside area. It gets rammed with holidaymakers, our local store, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And often there's people queuing down the aisles, and all of the cashiers, all their tills are taken. And if you just got a couple of items, like say if I go in there just for a paper and something else, then do I really want to be queuing, waiting for all these full trolleys to go down, possibly 20 minutes to 30 minutes, when there's a space at a self-service till and I can be out in 1 minute flat? Well, I'd probably choose a self-service purely for that. But we have got someone who isn't too keen on it. So shall we have another comment, Elliot? Do you want to press the drum roll? Well, they're definitely not for everyone. And Donna Clark, which is Elliot's mother and my wife, well, who lives in Coaster, she absolutely hates self-service tills and refuses to use them. She says that we are doing someone else's job and should get paid for it. Now that's fair enough, really, isn't it? Because we basically are doing someone else's job.
Yeah.
And those self-service tills are potentially taking away someone's job. If they get another till on, another cashier put in there, then that would be someone else's job. But obviously, at the self-service tills, you do have that person there, so there is that member of staff. I do find self-service tills a little bit annoying. Normally, often my first item completely messes up, and it has a beep or whatever, and the little red flashing light comes on, and the member of staff is whizzing around with their little barcode scanners to clear your screen. And there always seems to be one item, for example, say if I've got 5 items, always one of those 5 seems to, it doesn't seem to scan, or there's a problem with it, and I have to call the assistant. And that can be a little bit of a pain. But, you know, so it's each their own, really, isn't it? But I do think with self-service tills, supermarkets so far, I think it's quite a good mix. What do you think, Elliot?
Yeah, good mix.
I think though they should have more staff on the tills.
Yes.
Though, to be honest, like in our local Sainsbury's, you've got people queuing for the self-service tills, and literally there's like 2 or 3 members of staff on the till. There might be about 10 tills in total, but only 2 or 3 members of staff on those tills. So I think if you get more people actually on the tills, it would encourage people to use those tills more rather than queue up for self-service, because they probably think, oh, there's only 2 people available, we'll go for self-service. So I think the supermarket should look at that a little bit. But elsewhere in the town, I have noticed, Poundland, for instance, I think that's quite bad. They've got literally pretty much all self-service tills.
Yeah.
it is like spot the cashier. They might just have one, I think, and the rest are all self-service tills. I think so. In those areas, in town centres specifically, I think they are taken over a little bit, and a lot of people don't like using them. I think it could encourage shoplifting as well. Sleight of hand, things going in pockets, things not scanning, etc. So I think there's quite a big subject that with self-service tills, the fors and against of that. Now we do have a random fact on self-service tills, and it's going to press this one. Well, a study estimated that 1/3 of self-service users fail to pay for their items, whether it's intentional or accidentally, as they may have thought they scanned an item but it didn't go through. So that's interesting. I mean, I've actually had a couple of items that haven't been scanned before. Sort of when I checked my receipt, and I thought, oh, I've got this. It didn't scan. So they're definitely not like proofful, are they? Or they're definitely not totally reliable. But at the moment, they do the job, and as we said earlier, I think they're handy for smaller items when there's massive queues at the tills. But I think they should look at certain shops anyway. Should look at getting more people on the tills. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. So, shall we do a little summarise on today, Elliot, and what we spoke about today? What do you reckon? I think it's pretty much, with everyone's shopping habits, it's pretty much mixed supermarkets, isn't it? Yeah. For a main shop. And smaller or hard to find items from a specific shop, or specific items you can't get hold of from another shop. But obviously online shopping, very popular and very handy. And we have now, as we're coming to a close, what do you think of this music, Elliot?
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, very nice. It's quite relaxing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So your everyday life today, you actually did go town shopping, didn't you? Today for some new shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that experience? Was that good?
Yeah. Quite quick.
A lot of people uptown?
A few, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Well, everybody, thanks for listening to our first ever episode of Random Subjects from Everyday Life with me, Dustbin Dave, and
Elliot Clark.
Elliot Clark. And if you would like to know what the next subject would be, or you would like us to read out your comment, then please just email us on binsfantastic2022@yahoo.com. And in the meantime, folks, enjoy your everyday life.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.